Hello everyone and welcome back. So now we're going to talk about the first stage, which is establishing a practice. Now, this is actually quite important, and I feel like sometimes it's estimated or under talked about one's relationship to practice. Because at the end of the day, you that is the number one most important thing, because it is what regulates like in general the amount of time and effort and dedication and relevance it is in your life, in contrast to applying technique correctly. I think relationship to practice is even more important. So I really appreciate that there is a full stage and there is a full like um, elaboration on this point in the start of the book. So the idea is to have the right attitude towards practice. You have to understand that the good practice is the practice you do, and the bad practice is the one you don't do. At least in the beginning, that's the most important thing. Right now, we're trying to make sure we stay consistent and we are committed. We have to understand the bigger picture. We have to understand that it's a slow and steady process, and that we are essentially a program who's trying to get more habituated to bringing in practice into not only on the cushion but also outside in life. And that's, we have to see the bigger picture. And even if the goal isn't something extremely far, I imagine the recommendation in the book, which is to build up to a 45-minute sit, is a 45, potentially even to an hour, is essentially the goal, and will have such a profound impact on your life in the greater scheme of things. You will be more than happy you spent that hour a day, and it becomes the thing you potentially even look forward to later on. It will be your favorite part of the day, potentially. At least that's what I imagine if you continue and are rigorous with your attempt. So it's important to notice a few things. One is you have to build joy around practicing. That is the name of the game. You have to bring the positive energy and emotion yourself. You have to believe that this is the most important thing for you to do. You have to believe that what you're doing is right, is getting you on the path, is the best spending of your time. And you have to reward yourself for every single time you wake up. Again, don't worry if you forget or whatever. Again, it's not your fault. You're not the one who chose to get distracted. You're not the one who came back to the object, as I mentioned in the last video. You're not the one who remembered to reward. Again, these notions of self and I as doing practice, as making mistakes, are only going to get you in the way. So take the bigger picture, understand that you're just a program, you're trying to tweak some things and have it run a bit better. And regardless if this seems counterintuitive to how you experience the world, it is useful for practice, and at the end of the day, this channel is focused about practicality. So build the joy, enjoy practice, make it a time when, like that you enjoy. For example, hold a small smile. Right? So that's a powerful tool, and even if it feels like it's a fake in the beginning, I promise you, without much time, it won't be. So hold a small smile when you practice, when you remember, when you have that aha moment, relax, hold a small smile, and continue on practicing. Keep cultivating joy around practice. Another few tips outlined in the book is to start off more general open awareness of like things you're hearing, then switch over to your body, your breath with your abdomen, and then your breath. And you can experiment with things like that. And also counting is very powerful in the beginning. Don't count less than 5 and don't count more than 10, because sometimes counting will just become an automatic process. So just stick to 10, maybe 10 all the way down to 0. Maybe do that once in the beginning. And also be mindful of if you're coming into practice with distractions, as that can essentially destroy a session. So right before you start, put a strong intention. And I like this, for example, one intention I do is that saying, right now I'm going to dedicate my time for practice, it's the most important thing, and I say a line. Have a line, actually, that you say before you start practicing. And maybe also express a little bit of gratitude, because eventually practice will be a little bit longer. The line could be something like, thank you for my life, thank you God for my life, if you like that. Then say, I practice for the well-being of myself and those around me. That's what I like to say, okay? It can be whatever line is meaningful to you. Express a little bit of gratitude, and then get ready, get comfortable. Understand that if there's something on your mind that it's not important right now, and then right now we're gonna focus on practice, okay? So I hope you found that useful. On to the video. I recommend waking up early in the morning so that dullness and sleepiness is not an issue, and doing your sit quite early. It's also a great start to the day, and if you can, potentially have a sit at night. Start with 10-15 minutes, again, morning, night, and eventually try to build up to a longer time. Personally, I actually found it quite hard to sit for 45 minutes to an hour and so on. And what I ended up doing was having 10 to 20 minute sits extremely frequently. And it got to a point where I was doing it up to 6 times a day, and it didn't matter, because when eventually I got to trying to sit down one shot straight, it was much better. And I think having a lot of smaller sits helps you keep that mindfulness a little bit more throughout the day. So it's something to experiment with, like micro sits in general, like 5-10 minute sits. And again, at the end of the day, whatever practice you do is the good practice. And don't be too worried about your progress and so forth. Just apply technique appropriately and just do your best. Okay? And again, don't worry about, like, you can push yourself, you'd be surprised, but don't do it to the point of agitation. And this brings me to the point about posture. Okay? You don't have to sit in some obscenely difficult posture. The most important thing is to practice. I actually got quite far, and even now I still sit on a comfortable couch, the most comfortable couch in my house. I don't sit in some awkward postures for like long periods of time and so on. Admittedly, it will help with dullness, one of my biggest problems, but what I'm trying to get at is, most importantly, is to do the practice. So sit in a comfortable position, that's fine. Later on, you can experiment with posture. So you don't have to do some standing. Lying down is also fine. Do not worry. The most important thing is to continue and be consistent. Again, like I was saying, I did it numerous times a day. I do 10 minutes lying, or 10 minutes sitting, 10 minutes lying, and that's how I extended the time. Sitting in comfortable positions, and so on. I recommend, as soon as you can, a morning and a night of a few minutes, and then keep pushing the frequency and pushing the duration. So again, build the joy around practicing. It's not your fault if you get distracted. It's not your fault if it's not your good job that you did well in practice. So keep that in mind. It's going to help you in the long run, and it's going to help you right now as well. So that is how to establish practice. Just be consistent. That's the most important thing. Thank you guys. Love you guys.